I really don't know what to say anymore. There really hasn't been much out of me over the past 3 days because of that horrible experience. Has anyone ever heard of VeggieTales? I've been a big fan of it ever since I got my first DVD, which was Rack, Shack, and Benny. The show was really good in my eyes because of the characters, stories, morals, and humor. However, I have outgrown the show because I've gotten older, and I'm glad I did because these new redesigns and this spin-off called VeggieTales in the House, which made is kinda to me is a guilty pleasure. I still have a bunch of DVDs and even some old VHS tapes. I've watched all of them except for one, which was called Where's God When I'm Scared. I've actually had it before, and when after I got it, was about to watch it, but I couldn't find it. So I decided to go to my old buddy Amazon to look for not a re-release, not a remaster, but the original. I searched for it, but couldn't find the copy until I got to the bottom of the results. The title of the item says, VeggieTales 1993, Where's God When I'm Scared? The VHS tape is good as new. I couldn't wait for it to get into the mail. About a week after my aunt and uncle, who I was living with at the time, were on a trip, they said if I needed them, just to call them and at least I can watch a tape without being disturbed, because my sister was also gone to a friend's house as well. Right after they left, the mailman came and put something into my mailbox. Most likely a package from the yellow wrapping. I could see it, and after I could check to see the mailbox, and sure enough, it was my package. I grabbed it and went to the house into my room, shut the door behind me, and started to open it. After I opened it, I started to look at the tape's condition, because you know how Amazon, you could get something that looks good and brand new on the picture of the item, but when you wound up getting it was a sand-filled GameCube. The tape's box art looks like it was copied off of Google Images, and the actual tape didn't have a label. Geez, Amazon, thank you very much, I said in a kind of sarcastic way, even though I was really happy to have the tape. Since I have an old VCR, thanks to the 80s, that I barely use anymore, I got it from my uncle, then put it in the VHS tape and pressed play. For some reason, it took 9 minutes to get it working. I'm guessing it's because of the bad condition. After 9 minutes of waiting, which felt like longer because I was really excited to watch it, the tape finally began. It seemed that everything was normal at first for the first 15 minutes of the tape. It was a great episode and had a great lesson. God is bigger than any monster out there, followed by a silly song called The Water Buffalo. As I was going to finish the other 15 minutes after the silly song, it seemed like the tape got pre-mented because it slowed down back a black screen for about 3 minutes. Not only I was upset, but because I thought the tape didn't work either. After 15 minutes after the recording over the actual show, I was so mad that it seemed that I have scammed out of $10. But after a little bit of complaining, the show seemed to restart because it showed the intro again. I was a little curious as to what the show normally doesn't restart unless it's over and you hear the tape rewinding inside the VCR. But it didn't. I didn't hear the tape rewind inside, and when the actual show started, it showed Bob and Larry standing on the countertop as usual. But for some reason, the atmosphere felt different, almost depressing. I mean, Bob and Larry were smiling and the background was bright and colorful, but for some reason, it felt depressing. Everything was out of normal until they started reading the letter. Bob read the letter out loud and it said, Dear Bob and Larry, I am a mother of 2 children and my youngest son died in a car accident last night. His dad fell asleep on the wheel and crashed into a tree. He was fine, but my son was killed. I don't know what to do anymore. I just hope you can understand what I've been going through. Michelle. Bob looked very upset and with the letter, and Larry didn't say anything clever or funny, which is kind of out of character of him. The show interrupted Bob and Larry before they could say anything. The TV show started up with Junior watching TV late at night in his room, similar to Where's God When I'm Scared, with the familiar Mom Asparagus saying, Junior, time for bed, with Junior saying, just 4 more minutes, but he decides to turn off the TV and go to his room. He hopped up the stairs into his room. However, he was extremely scared, even more so when he was watching that TV show. He thought, yeesh, that show could be scary, but it isn't real, is it? Junior then went to sleep and and we got treated to his dreams, aka nightmares. There was even a lot of flashing colors with shapes and Junior in the dream world. After about 30 seconds, I heard a loud booming voice that sounded like my TV speakers were at the 100 volume percent. However, my volume was only at 10%. The voice said, "You are weak, humble, disgraceful, no one." This part really shocked me the most, as I was jump scared by that monster that Junior watched on the TV, except it looked more demented. Junior woke up with not a scream, not a cry, instead just a shocked face. Then it cuts to 2 days later, and Bob and Larry were with Mom and Dad Asparagus, and the dad said, "Junior hasn't come out of his room in 2 days. Is he sick? Is he coming down with something? Is he injured? We don't know because he never told us." They entered his room. Junior looked a lot worse from when last time they saw him. He was laying straight on his bed, staring up with red, bloodshot eyes, and was drooling out of his gaping mouth. Bob closed his eyes and said, "Junior looks like he's in a really bad condition." And this was the first time I have seen Bob this serious. They cut to Junior again, but he was shaking rapidly and started foaming out of the mouth, and he seemed like he was crying as well. It cut to the hospital building, where the doctor that looked like Ichabod said in a British accent, "Junior hasn't slept in 3 days. He just looks as if he's shocked, almost in a coma state." His mom said to Junior, "We didn't know you were scared, Junior. You should have told us." This was getting really disturbing and really uncomfortable to watch. His mom then saw the beeper thing that tells you when the heart is beating, beeps, went flat. Archie then went to them and said, "I'm sorry everyone, but Junior is dead." It was really sad. I felt like I was going to cry because Junior was one of my favorite characters in the show. It then cuts to a picture of the Asparagus family, with Mom Asparagus crying in the background, all mixed with the words, "He's gone. I can't bring him back. I can't live like this anymore." It then showed Mom Asparagus in the kitchen, reaching for the medicine cabinet and pulling out a bottle of pills. She finishes with the words, "When you lose someone, you will always feel pain until you can feel no pain at all." She opens up the bottle and passes out. The final image was the image of the Asparagus family. It then cuts back to the countertop, where Bob and Larry were even sadder when they read the letter from what Bob said in a sad voice. "It's time to talk to Corey about what we learned today." Corey didn't work though, and Bob was getting angry at Corey for not working. He starts bouncing off of Corey like a ball, getting angrier every time. Larry even told Bob to stop or he might get hurt. Bob then charged at the computer, and then he hit and it splattered into pieces of tomato juice and tomato chunks. Larry ran off crying and then went to the edge of the countertop, where he said to the audience while staring at the camera in the voice, "Remember kids, God made you special, and he loves you very much. Goodbye." Larry then jumps off the counter and hits the floor and smashes into pieces. The episode ends with no credits, just nothing. This was a very shocking experience for me. I didn't know who made this episode, and I didn't even know if I was dreaming or not. I couldn't sleep for 2 days. I kept getting nightmares from the following episode. The next day I decided to email Big Idea, the company that makes VeggieTales, about this strange and disturbing episode. I didn't get a response till 2 weeks later, and the email said, "From whom it concerns, from Big Idea. Subject, Disturbing VeggieTales 1993, Where's God When I'm Scared? Reply. We are very sorry that we have never made anything as disturbing or demented as you have described for us, but we understand your worries, so think you should get rid of anything else that might worry you. And remember, God made you special, and he loves you very much, from Big Idea." I took their word for it and threw the tape out, along with my other VeggieTales DVDs and VHS tapes, and even my Bob and Larry plushies that I've had since I was little, and threw them in the garbage. I tried to tell people about it, even my closest friends and my uncle and aunt, but they didn't seem to believe me. I was watching the news on TV, and there was a story about a father and son who was driving last night who crashed into a tree. The father survived with a few injuries, but the son died while the mother's name was Michelle. That was strange because there was something similar to the letter that Bob and Larry read. So the next day I decided to take a drive around my home state in Arizona. After a few hours of driving, I found myself at the Grand Canyon, so I parked my car there and went to the edge. I looked down the rocky floor at the bottom of the canyon. Say to those who have fearful hearts, be strong, and do not fear, your God will come. He will come with vengeance, with divine retribution. He will come and save you. Isaiah 35:4. And that, my little pretties, was VeggieTales 1993, a VeggieTales lost episode creepypasta. This story was written by RedTheHedgehog140. My final thoughts on this story. Um, I think this is gonna be like an unpopular opinion or something. I don't really know. I think this is an unpopular opinion, but I remember Shadow Reader narrated this story back on his old channel, and he said he didn't really like the story. Like, I think he did explain the reasons why he didn't like the story on his older channel when he had the video up on his old channel before it was terminated. Now, I kind of know that Shadow didn't really like it because he pointed out some issues, but I am going to say the story was not too bad. I mean, it's still a good story in my opinion. Like, it's like listed as the best pasta in in there, but I would have to say this story is not the best story, but it does have some ups and downs with this. So I'm going to basically go over some things. For one, the story was had a interesting concept, although it does sound a little cliched, especially with, certain parts of the story. But to be honest, I really don't care for it. So, yeah, this story just didn't really, make a whole lot of sense. But at the same time, I mean, there was like certain cliches in the story, like going on Amazon and all that. And, I will admit that that's been done before, and that's cliched, to be honest. Another cliche I definitely would have to say was that the tape itself and everything. Oh my goodness, it's just cliche. I mean, the episode itself had hyper realistic blood eyes and that. I'm like, oh god, like it's just cliched. The main issue with the episode is just it has cliches in it that other pastas have done this. So I think this might have been an older story. Probably was written, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I really don't remember exactly because I haven't read this story in like, holy hell, it's been years. So I'm going to say that then, well, this. I'm just gonna sit here and say this right now. This story was just not that terrible. Like, I mean, it does have some ups and downs, but it's just not really that terrible. So, yeah, I will try to sit there and, explain, the issues like DVD cliche, VHS cliche, Amazon cliche, and, I mean, this episode just didn't really make sense. First of all, it has in the episode of, this girl, Michelle, writing a letter, and Bob and Larry read the letter, and then the whole news about it just appeared near the end. I mean, it was not necessary to be added into it. It's not going to be, well, honest to be, but I mean, the story is it's not terrible or anything. I'm just gonna sit here and say this right now. It's not like terrible in the sense. But I could definitely say, hey, right now that the story was not terrible, but I think maybe it was just Shadow's unpopular opinion. But despite that, the story is not the best one, but just gonna definitely consider this story. Now, this story, I mean, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect story, but it's not a bad one. Maybe that might be just me, but I don't really know. Not gonna really care or anything like that. But okay, that's just some thing. But the grammar of this story was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. The grammar was really well done and all that. The person put his or her time and effort into the story. But I mean, I know some people really don't like this story. Like I know Shadow Reader didn't really care for this one, and I know not everyone cared for it. It's not terrible. But, to be honest, I'm not gonna definitely say this. I'm just well, nothing about it. So okay, the story was not terrible though. But I'm not gonna bother getting any more, doing any of this, so, yeah. But yeah, but I come on. I will have to sit here and just, I just haven't read this story in like a while, so this one brings me back memories because this is actually one of the first narrations I've listened to on Shadow's old channel before he got terminated. So, anyways, with that being the case, that being said, this is just simply my own personal opinion. If you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regarding these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story would have to be, I'm gonna give this one a 6 out of 10. I know a lot of people would maybe kind of argue that's a bit high, but I'm giving this a 6 out of 10. It's a decent VeggieTales creepypasta, but the only thing that brought it down were, the cliches involved into it and some unnecessary, news reports and all that. But other than that, the story was not terrible in a sense. But I'm gonna sit here and just say, not a terrible story. I think this, my opinion, might not be very popular as well because I know it's a really good, popular story. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of narrations of this, so there's definitely that. What do you guys think about this story? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you're happy to be right here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Do not forget to ring the notification bell when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.